You need to remember that the way that you lose the weight is the way that you maintain the weight loss. So if you lose the weight and you are unable to maintain those habits, you are gonna gain the weight back when you go back to your old habits. I did not cut out sugar, I didn't cut out carbs, I didn't cut out alcohol, I didn't cut out anything. I just did these things that I'm gonna tell you, and if you do this, I promise you, your life is gonna be changed. Hey everyone, it's Nikki. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new. Today's video has been very highly requested, and I've kind of put off filming it for a very long time. So I've lost 30 pounds within the last year and kept it off for almost a year. And if you want to know how I did that, if you are in a similar boat and you don't want it to be the hardest thing you've ever done in your entire life and you want it to be something you can actually stick with for once, this is for you. First things first, go on Ozempic. I'm just kidding. First things first, actually is to stop dieting. Like genuinely, this sounds so counterintuitive and you're gonna be like, can you please shut up? But actually, please stop dieting. Stop cutting out food groups. Stop labeling foods good and bad. Stop saying you're gonna cut out all carbs and sugar and blah, 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 blah. That is not your problem. Eating something in excess is what is going to cause you to gain weight. My biggest thing that I started doing was listening to my cravings, listening to what my body actually wants. And I know you guys are gonna say, but Nikki, when I listen to my body, it tells me to eat cake. Yes, it's gonna tell you to eat cake if you've been restricting cake for your whole entire life and only eating it on special occasions and then literally binging out on cake. But here's the thing, once you start allowing yourselves the foods that you deem fun foods or bad foods or whatever you want to cheat foods, once you allow yourself to eat that stuff, it's not really a novelty anymore and you don't really care about it as much. So you don't feel the need to binge on it. And that is what we're aiming to do in general with all food. Like once you allow yourself to eat what you want and genuinely listen to your body, listen to your cravings, it is not, food in general is not going to be such a novelty. Like I genuinely don't care about food anymore. The way that I used to have food noise and I used to be obsessed with food, once you let yourself just eat what you want. Also, I'm sorry if you hear rustling around. My dog is literally like in explore mode here in my like filming room, but Dinky, I need you to simmer down. Do you guys want to say hi to Dinky? He's being such a little stinky boy. He's such a little stinky boy. He's literally in absolute explore mode, but he's so cute that you can't even be mad at him. He's making so much noise in our video. So anyways, this has saved my life. Like as somebody who used to struggle with binge and restrict patterns and disordered eating habits for years and years and years, and every time I would lose any amount of weight, I would always gain it back, like no matter what, because the way that I lost it was unsustainable. You need to remember that the way that you lose the weight is the way that you maintain the weight loss. So if you lose the weight and you are unable to maintain those habits, maintain that diet, maintain that exercise routine, you're gonna gain the weight back when you go back to your old habits. You know, like it just doesn't make any sense. I did not cut out sugar, I didn't cut out carbs, I didn't cut out alcohol, I didn't cut out anything. I just did these things that I'm gonna tell you, and if you do this, I promise you, your life is gonna be changed. Okay, so number one was allowing yourself to eat what your body's craving. But with allowing yourself to eat what you want, you need to be mindful of your fullness and satiety cues and your hunger cues. Don't eat because you're bored. Don't eat until the point where you want to actually yak. Eat when you're hungry, stop when you're full. It's so much easier said than done. It's not easy, it's not easy. It's simple. It's so simple. Once you master portion control, you have full control over your life and what you eat and your body and everything. It's technically the only way to actually lose weight scientifically is a calorie deficit. That doesn't mean you have to track calories and go on a diet. For some people, it may be beneficial to track just to know where they're at, because you might be thinking like, oh my God, I barely eat, but like you're eating like a dozen donuts and you know, McDonald's, and you're only eating twice a day, but you're eating like 4,000 calories a day, you know? So it could be beneficial for somebody who doesn't have any food knowledge or any calorie knowledge at all to track and know that they are in a calorie deficit. However, I know for a lot of people tracking may be triggering. So I think that if you want to go the intuitive eating route, it is going to be a little bit harder to know if you're in a deficit. But I think if, for a lot of us, myself included, like I do know overall like how much I'm eating, and I go by my body, and it is something that's a lot more sustainable in the long term, because you're not going to be using MyFitnessPal for the rest of your life. So it is a good tool to use if you want to use that and you have an okay relationship with tracking and you're able to like not obsess over it, it can be a really helpful tool. But if you're somebody that feels like that's kind of unhealthy for you and you can get into a negative mindset with that, then maybe steer away from that and focus more on the fullness and satiety and hunger cues. For me, genuinely, like, this has changed my relationship with food. I have never had a better relationship with food, and in the same breath, I've never eaten more unhealthy in my entire life. Like, I lost weight and I've never been less crazy about my diet. I've never been less lax and less like chill about what I eat. I don't care. Like, I will eat whatever my body's craving, and if that's McDonald's, I just literally went downstairs. I've been filming all day and I had an omelet this morning and a big iced coffee, and I literally was hungry, so I went downstairs and I just ate a crap load of chocolate. And you know what? Is that healthy? No. Do I care? No. Like, I don't do that every day. I don't do that all the time, but I do eat sweets, you know, whenever I want. I do have sugary coffees whenever I want. Like, I'm literally drinking an iced coffee from McDonald's right now. Guys, like, it's not that serious, and beating yourself up over these foods is not that serious. Yes, we should try to eat whole nutritious foods. Yes, we all need proteins, fats, carbs, vegetables, and fruits. Absolutely. But stop beating yourself up over the food you're eating. Like, just, you have to let it go. And once you do that, you care about it less. You're gonna crave those foods so much less. Like, I genuinely couldn't care less about food anymore. It's just, it's so crazy. I think it also just comes down to like a self-respect thing. And for me, I realized that overstuffing myself to the point where I felt physically uncomfortable, which I used to do in my binge restrict times because I felt so restricted at all times, that when I finally got to eat a quote unquote cheat food or bad food, I would stuff myself to the point where I felt so uncomfortable and I felt so sick. That is disrespecting my body. That's not kind to my body. That's not self-care. That's not having a treat as a form of self-care. That's not, you know, treating myself to ice cream or a yummy matcha with like cold foam and sugary whatever from Starbucks. That's not self-care to me. That's like actually hurting myself. That's hurting my stomach. That's hurting my body. It's not nice to your body. At this point, I've come to realize I'm at a place where, you know, I'm hoping for children someday, and I'm trying to be kind to myself. I'm trying to be kind to my body. Like, I give myself all these positive affirmations in my day-to-day life. Why am I being mean to my body? Why am I torturing my body? Why am I putting my body through all of this hard, crazy exercise and then restricting and not eating all day and then binging out and wanting to literally barf? Like, that is not kind to your body. Like, you need to think of this from a place of love and not from a place of hate. Like, I remember that quote that said you can't hate yourself into a body you love, and it could not be more true. Like, you can't hate yourself into a body you love. You really have to think about this from a place of self-respect. Like, I used to stand over the counter and like literally just like throw food in my mouth and like eat and eat and eat and not even take a breath. Now I light a candle, I make myself a nice cocktail or like a mocktail or a little whatever, and then I sit down and I put on my favorite show, or I put on some nice jazz music, and I'll like make it a moment. Obviously, take this with a grain of salt, because if you are a busy mom or you're working multiple jobs or you're working 9 to 5, I'm very privileged and lucky that I'm able to do this. But obviously take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. You know, I'm just giving you what works for me. But if you can, try to sit down, enjoy your food. Like, I naturally eat really fast. That's something I've been like really working on, is trying to slow down, really taste my food, really understand like, am I full yet? Like, how do I feel? What am I really craving? That's the biggest takeaway. Like, that is really the #1 thing that is going to change your relationship with food and your relationship with your body. I always say, like, you can go back. Like, you just, once you realize you're full, I do this all the time, and my husband always makes fun of me because like I'll eat like half of my Chipotle bowl and then be like, oh, I'm full, and then I'll put it away, and then I'll like do a little bit of something around the house, and then like 30 minutes later I'm there like eating it again, and he's like, I thought you were done. And I was like, well, I thought about it, and then I came back and now I'm still hungry. Like, you can always go back and eat the thing. Like, if let's say you had dinner and you're super full but you really want a sweet treat, have like a little Hershey, couple Hershey Kisses or half the cookie that you want to have, and save it for tomorrow. Like, that cookie, or like later on that night when you want to actually eat it and enjoy it. Don't stuff yourself because you think you need to eat all the stuff all at once. Like, the cookie, the thing, the food will always be there tomorrow. You can always enjoy it later on, tomorrow, whenever you actually feel hungry again. But wait till you genuinely want it instead of making yourself feel uncomfortable. I've been such a leftovers girl, been such a like, I'll finish this later, or like, I'll eat it tomorrow, because I know that like, I'm full. The food stops tasting good after a while. You're kind of just eating it to eat it. And I think it's hard too when you grow up in a household where you're taught that you must clean your plate. We were part of the Clean Plate Society. My mom used to get very offended if I didn't finish all my food, and it's something I've had to teach myself to unlearn, is that you don't always have to clean your plate. My husband was actually raised in a complete opposite household where they were allowed to eat however much or however little they wanted. If they weren't hungry, they didn't eat. If they were hungry, they ate. Like, his mom never forced him to eat anything. She's still that way, where like, if he doesn't want something, like, she's not pissed if he doesn't eat it. She's not like, oh, you don't like it. It's just a very different environment, and I'm learning from them as well. They have a very healthy relationship with food. They're all like what you would think is naturally thin, but it's not so much that they're naturally thin. I mean, yes, they're active people, but they just have a different relationship with food, and I'm very much learning from them, and like, I admire that, and I've learned a lot of things from the way that they go about eating. Next thing is to throw away meal times. If I'm not hungry at breakfast, I'm not eating. If I'm hungry at 6 a.m., I'm eating. Like, it doesn't matter if I want a tuna sandwich at 9 o'clock in the morning, I will have that. And if I want pizza at breakfast time, I'll have that. If I want, you know, oatmeal or a whatever, I don't know, waffles at dinner, I'll have that. It doesn't matter certain types of meals or times you should be eating. If I'm not hungry for lunch till 3 o'clock, I'm eating lunch at 3 o'clock. If I'm not hungry for dinner after that, I'm not forcing myself to have dinner because it's 6 o'clock. Like, I'll wait till 9 and have a midnight snack. Like, well, it's not midnight, but you know what I mean. Like, I eat when I'm hungry. I'm not forcing myself to eat. I'm also not forcing myself to have food before coffee and all these stupid rules. Like, I get it, that's probably good for your hormones and blah, blah, blah. And listen, I'm not a doctor, so take what I say with a grain of salt again. But like, I just feel like it's not that deep to me. Like, it's just not. I just eat what I feel like eating and when I feel like eating it. And that's that. It's easy. I'm talking about, guys, I'm not talking about how to be the healthiest wellness queen in the whole world and like how to have a perfect, beautiful routine that looks aesthetic. I'm talking about how to be in a body you feel comfortable in, have a great relationship with food, and not have food noise and not think about food constantly. Like, this is how you can just, or exercise, same thing with exercise, I'll get into that, but like, this is how you can actually just do this in a way that seems effortless, in a way that seems easy and is maintainable forever, because you're really not thinking about it. We have so many other things we need to be thinking about throughout the day. This is my last priority, you know? And if you're so obsessive about it, if you're so like, oh my God, New Year's resolution, like getting into it, like I'm cutting out everything, blah, 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 baby, you are never going to be able to maintain that. You might lose some weight and you are going to gain it all right back. If that is your mindset, you're never going to be able to maintain. A lot of people who have lost weight will always tell you like maintaining is so much harder than losing. Like losing, you're motivated, you're into it. Once you get the ball rolling, like you got this. But maintaining it afterwards, that's supposed to be the rest of your life. That's your plan. You can do a, you know, a 6-week plan, even a 1-year plan. What about the rest of your life plan? What's that like? What are we doing? Because whatever you do to lose the weight, you got to do it to maintain the weight loss. Okay, next thing you're doing is 10 to 20K steps. Sorry, if you're like already a walker. If you're not a walker, let's say you're doing like 2,000, 3,000 steps. Okay, start with like 5 to 8 and work your way up. This was just how I did it. It's helpful if you live in a warmer climate. I don't, but I did this during like summer, springtime, so it was so much easier for me. Now I have a walking pad. You could literally get one off like TikTok Shop or like Amazon. They're like $100 and it's great. Or just go to the gym, go on the treadmill. I love to go in the sauna afterwards. I put YouTube videos on. I'll literally watch like my TV shows and just walk. I don't go a day without walking. I almost always hit at least 10,000 steps. My goal now is like 12 to 15. But typically it's around 10,000 if I'm also doing a workout on top of that. I'm not like a super stickler about it, but I try my best. I also am just overall a more active person now. I feel like being a homeowner has really like forced me to be active. I'm taking care of myself, my dog, my husband. I'm taking care of a home with 4 bedrooms. Like there is a lot that I'm doing every single day. So genuinely, I'm just a more active person than I was when I was living at my mom's house when I first moved back and I actually gained the weight. That's the main thing too, is like I don't have time to kind of sit around and just think about what snacks I'm gonna eat and just like lay around and do nothing, because I'm very busy now. So I'm always on my feet, I'm always doing things. Like even though my job is like staying at home and filming content here, when I'm on the road, when I'm traveling for modeling, I'm on my feet all day. When I'm going to castings, when I'm in New York City, like running around to my agency and like doing all that, I'm on my feet all day. Like I am a pretty active person. Like I said, 10,000 steps is basically a minimum for me. Next is that you don't have to kill yourself in the gym. My workouts are, my actual like strength workouts are max 30 minutes. 30 minutes. It can be full body, it can be an arm day, a leg day. The only thing that's longer than that is like if I'm going to a class, like if I do solid core, that's obviously 50 minutes, but that's 50 minutes and that's all I'm doing that whole day. You know, I'll still be active. Sometimes I'll still like go on my treadmill or like whatever, but other times I'm just like getting steps around the house and I'm really not too stressed about it because that is more strenuous on my body. I've realized with my hormones, and a lot of us women, we're more fragile. We're not little men. We shouldn't be training like little men. We are women. We have our own set of hormones. And different things work for different people. I'm not a naturally athletic person. I never played sports as a child. I don't have that body that wants to and is up for that. As I can do it. I can do it. You can put me in a workout class and I can do it. But do I want to be doing F45 and crazy weightlifting and sprinting and all of that? I used to. And guess what? I didn't have a period for 2 years. Because I was doing that coupled with under eating, wondering why I couldn't lose the weight and having to bring my calories lower and lower and lower because my body was so inflamed. And I was just, my hormones were all out of whack, didn't have a period, like it was just a mess. So we're not doing that anymore. Like we're not doing that. I mean, I'm not. So I just do what I feel like it. Like I go to the gym and if I feel like doing a full body little like circuit, I'll grab some 5-10 pound dumbbells, do a little circuit, do a little booty, a little arms, little abs, little planking. If I feel like doing an arm day at the gym, I'll like go and do some machines. If I want to do legs, I'll do the abductor machines, do a couple squats. Like I just do, it sounds like girly workouts, but it's so fun for me. I love listening to a podcast or putting my headphones on and just like going to the gym and getting in the zone and listening to like Pussycat Dolls and genuinely just like having a good time and making up my workout as I go along. And maybe it's not the most efficient way to get in shape, but it's fun. It's something I'm gonna stick to for the rest of my life. I enjoy it. I like to do workout classes as like a fun thing to do with my friends, or like try to do that like once a week maybe, but nothing crazy. Yeah, I'm not a freaking bodybuilder. Like I want to be toned, whatever that means. I want to have muscle tone. I want to fit into my jeans nicely, have a good relationship with food, and have good cardiovascular health. Like that's my biggest thing that I really want. So like I'm not really that much of a stickler about workouts. I do what I feel like it, and I try to move my body every day. I'm an overall very active person, so that's what I think generally keeps me in shape and keeps my metabolism up, is that I'm 5'11" and I move a lot. So I'm able to eat more than maybe your average woman who's maybe 5'4" and sits in an office all day, but that's basically that on exercise. I'm not killing myself in the gym anymore. Like I'm chilling. Also water, I used to think that I needed to drink a gallon of water a day. I used to track how much water I was drinking and force myself and like literally wake up in the middle of the night like peeing my pants basically because I was drinking so much water that I was like waterboarding myself. Now I just make sure I drink water with electrolytes at least once a day. Like I'm drinking water throughout the day, but I mean like putting an electrolyte packet and putting some colostrum in my water first thing in the morning, making sure I'm chugging that, and then just having water throughout the day as I'm thirsty. We do a lot of like sparkling water and like spin drifts and stuff like that at the house, so I'll have like a couple of those at night. I drink tea, stuff like that. Like I'm not a stickler about it. My pee's clear and I feel good and my skin's clear, so I think I'm good on the water front. Another thing is sleep. I prioritize sleep over exercise every single time. I used to wake up at like 5 a.m. for workouts when like I literally had gone to bed at like midnight and I'd gotten 5 hours of sleep. My hunger would be insane throughout the day. Number one, because I didn't sleep, and number two, because I went to do this workout at the crack of freaking ass. Like I would be insatiable. So that's just not gonna work for me. Like overall sleep, especially again, as a woman, your hormones, like you need sleep. So sleep is king over everything. Genuinely, I would choose sleep over any of my other healthy habits, like journaling, reading, manifesting, all the things that I love to do, reading the Bible, like whatever I wanna do in my morning routine that makes me feel good, I'll choose sleep over all of those things no matter what. No matter what, it is the best thing you can possibly do. I'm not kidding. Like sleep longer. And lastly, here's the like woo-woo part, but relax and don't stress. This was the first time that I actually just like knew it was gonna happen. This was the first time where I was like, oh no, this is gonna work out and it's gonna be fine. Like I'm just chilling. I'm not thinking about it. I literally didn't even realize I had actually lost weight until A, people started commenting, and B, I went to the doctor and they weighed me and I used to weigh 180 something pounds and now it was like 149. I was like, what the hell? Like I genuinely just was like, I'm just doing what I need to do. I feel good. Like I'm happy. Every day I'm working out. Every day I'm doing my steps. I wasn't weighing myself. I wasn't measuring myself. I wasn't obsessing over what I was eating. I wasn't constantly taking progress photos. I wasn't like making it my whole personality until finally once I reached a point where I was like, oh, I actually do see a difference. And like I literally went to the doctor and they're like, yeah, there's a difference. And I was like, wow, I feel good. My cycle had never been more regular. My skin was clear, I was sleeping great, and I was still like enjoying my life. I was drinking with my friends, I was eating McDonald's, I was eating whatever I wanted, but I was just active and like not food focused for the first time in my life, and not just basing my whole like activity regimen on workouts, more like just being a generally active person, getting steps in, moving my body, and in a way that I enjoyed. And that is what changed. My relationship with food changed. My relationship with myself changed. Like I love myself so much. I have so much confidence regardless. I was a bad bitch at 180 pounds. I'm a bad bitch at 140, 150, whatever I am now. I don't know. I haven't weighed myself in months. I have literally no idea. And that's the thing, you guys. It needs to be something sustainable. It cannot be something toxic. It cannot be from a place of hate. Like I've done this so many times. I've made these videos so many times. I have done this so many times, y'all. Like I genuinely also like had to throw away this notion that I'd been taught since I was a child by my whole family, by people around me, that I'm big boned, that being a certain size was never going to be in the cards for me, that blah, 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 I'm just curvy naturally. And I am just curvy naturally, but I also can be in a body that makes me feel confident and having a routine that makes me feel confident and makes me feel healthy. And I don't need to listen to all of that. Like you can change the narrative. You can genuinely change your life, and you just have to believe that for yourself and envision yourself as that. Again, here's the woo-woo part. And you can do it, and you can keep it off, and you can maintain something that makes you happy and makes you feel confident. So I hope this was like the least toxic possible video about weight loss you've ever seen. Like I'm really not trying to also promote weight loss. Like this is not something where I think people, I know we are so inundated, especially at the beginning of the year, especially with the rise of all these weight loss medications. We're so inundated with people talking about how to lose weight, how to be skinny, how to be this, how to be that. You guys have been hounding me, bombarding me with your questions, and I genuinely feel like I've done this in the healthiest way possible. I am the healthiest I've ever been and have the healthiest relationship with food I've ever had. So that's why I feel comfortable sharing my journey. But again, this is my journey, so take this with a grain of salt. I'm gonna share what works for me, and you in no way, shape, or form need to change your body at all, ever, whatsoever. If you love yourself, if you are healthy, if you are happy and confident, you don't need to do what anybody else is doing. Just because I lost weight, you don't need to lose weight. Let's just get that out there first and foremost. This is the number one most important thing. You can do what you want to do. You don't need to listen to anybody else. So yeah, guys, I hope that you took something from this video. I hope that I can inspire you to love yourself, to be kind to yourself, to treat your body with respect and care. You don't need to do anything you don't want to do. You don't need to feel pressure to change yourself to fit society. Like you can do whatever you want to do. I'm just sharing what I did because you guys have really been asking me, and I feel like I share everything with you guys. I'm such an open book. I talk about procedures and whatever, everything. Like I just share everything. So I was like, why not share this? I feel that it's a very sustainable, healthy approach. So yeah, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts, and I love you all. I hope that this was helpful. I love you so much, and I will see you in the next video.